Welcome to another Office Hours. Capsule. That's right, Capsule. This is a small segment of our Office Hours live stream that we do on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, or no, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, on twitch.tv/theastropub and youtube.com/theastropublive. We'd love to see you here joining us live. We talk a little bit about lore, news, and other things. I say this is a small segment because this is actually part of a longer, almost 5-hour stream where we talked about a lot of different things. But this time we're going to be talking about the Squadron 42 monthly report from the month of March. So without any further ado, let's look at what was done in Squadron 42 last March. All right. AI content. Oh, wait. Welcome to March 42 development report. Enclosed, you will find details on the latest progress made across the campaign, including planetary tech, ship behaviors, and fluff terminals. AI content. In March, AI content team made improvements to interactivity aboard the Javelin Gauntlet by introducing dynamic conversations, greetings, and "I'm busy" dialogue for NPCs. This in response to playtesting, as it became evident that players sought closer interactions with NPCs, prompting the integration of reactive responses. I'm guessing that, yeah, that's interesting, because I'm sure that they didn't expect people to want to interact a lot with the characters. There's a reason why, which CIG spoiled, but it makes sense, because you introduce your being on a ship, you expect to be able to know the people on that ship. So interesting. But also playtesting. So they are going through and playtesting the game. I know they have in the past, but it feels different for some reason. Also, as a result of feedback from playtesting, the length of the trolley was reduced to 4-box configuration. This decreases the time spent stacking and unstacking and increasing time traveling, which is what's preferred. Elevator travel with the trolleys is also polished to eliminate clipping issues upon exiting elevators. Additionally, an extra front stack spot was incorporated for enhanced trolley functionality, as NPCs looked robotic without it. The bed mattress was rigged for deformation, enabling realistic movement when NPCs sit or sleep on it, adding additional layer of detail to the environment. The final touches were also applied to bed bunk animations, enhancing the realism of NPC actions, such as sitting, reading, watching TV, and sleeping for more immersive experience. The final touches were also applied to bed bunk animations. Oh, I already said that. NPC interactions with wall-based buttons, such as those calling for elevators, can now accommodate 45-degree approaches. Furthermore, AI can carry boxes and press buttons simultaneously, eliminating the need to drop items to interact with doors or elevator controls. We get that for players? Refinements to scripted walking behaviors within the ship's corridors are ongoing to ensure NPCs move convincingly while avoiding critical scenes. That sounds like a lot of polish work. That doesn't sound like basic stuff. This sounds like spot checking and fixing some of the issues. That's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. AI features. March saw the AI features team continuing to iterate and polish features for specific level scenarios. They also worked through some technical debt, refactoring the AI system to remove bugs, simplify the code, and make development of new functionality and features easier. AI tech. AI tech fixed bugs, made small improvements to NPCs using elevators and using trolleys to move boxes. They also progressed with the major task of improving and polishing NPCs driving ground vehicles, which involved adding a new path follower for driving movement requests. They also implemented an improved controller system for vehicles by utilizing 2 PID controllers to control steering and requested velocity. Now NPCs will stick closer to the design path, design path, without overshooting during turns. The next step is iterating on the collision avoidance system to work as intended when NPCs need to avoid other ground vehicles or characters. Animation. Last month, the team worked on animations and design work for multiple story scenes and background elements, including life aboard the core ship and on various space stations. Progress was also made on EVA, combat animations for various enemy classes, and assets and design for utility functionality. The team are currently improving AI leisure on the core ships and working towards the final result for the first 2 dressing animations. Dressing animations, okay. EVA combat for various enemy classes. That's... Man, CSG's going crazy with this game. Alright. Gameplay story. Gameplay story made substantial progress on Chapter 1, involving revisiting the golden path through the level, which led to several scenes being adjusted. Everyone seems happy with the new layout, and the level appears to flow much better now. Gameplay story team. New mocap was shot to overhaul several Chapter 1 scenes and is currently being implemented. This work looks really promising, and we can't wait to see the positive impact this will have on the chapter. Alongside this, text now appears on characters' mobiGlas screens as they dictate a message. For Chapter 4, a huge update was completed on a complex 2-person scene. This now uses standard data pads throughout, which can be holstered and unholstered from the character's legs before and after the scene. This looks better, brings the scene more in line with the rest of the game world, and makes the setup a lot cleaner. Finally, the team received further audio and facial data for Chapter 5, which was incorporated into the relevant scenes. Interesting. A lot of this stuff feels like they're getting into it. like we're actually seeing them kind of focus this on as a game experience rather than just getting the functionality down. Graphics and VFX programming. Throughout March, much of the department's focus was on bug fixing and various features initially developed for Squadron 42, currently being implemented into the persistent universe for Alpha 3.23. Performance scaling options were added to the water simulation to ensure it can scale to all hardware. While various improvements were made to water boundary shading and visor wetness to achieve a seamless effect as players enter water. Support for distance field collisions was also completed for more accurate collisions from vehicles. The Vulcan team worked through several performance issues as they moved closer to matching D3D performance. This precedes the enabling of multi-threading for the next release to hopefully smash D3D performance levels on CPU. GPU performance should remain similar. However, some performance issues currently remain. Also, depending on the location context, players may see worse performance, hence the beta label on Vulcan. But our aim is for us to get widespread testing in Alpha 3.23 so we can enable Vulcan by default in the following release. It seems like we're not getting Vulcan for Alpha 3.23, but who knows? Maybe it's just that it's not fully integrated in 3.23. It's going to be fully integrated in 4.0 or whatever. Graphics, VFX, and programming team. Alongside this, the team currently reworking shaders to reduce the total number of PSOs, shaders, that need compiling when the game starts. Work on global illumination continued too, with a focus on performance as the team moves forward to an internal rollout of the first version for testing by the art teams. Planet Tech team started work on Planet Tech V5, with initial focus on groundwork required to set up spatial partitioning. They're currently deciding how this will work with server meshing and server crash recovery. The devs also introduced the concept of default planets for internal editor, so that it's trivial for anyone to create and use Planet for testing. On the VFX programming side, in addition to water improvements, the team continued with networking supports for fire simulation. They're also making changes to augmented reality render layer to enable support for holographic weapons. For example, muzzle flashes, projectiles, enemies, and impacts. That doesn't mean augmented reality for real life. It means augmented reality in game, the AR visor, which is a little different. Narrative. Last month, the narrative continued to close out work, adding additional narrative touches throughout the campaign. This included providing text for numerous fluff terminals and screens, as well as non-interactable set dressing items that provide opportunities for world building. For example, a TV screen that displays news headlines of the day. Text passes were completed for several mission-specific discoverable items that need fleshing out. An example of this work is crafting the specific text inside the data file that players can uncover during a mission. The team also made a pass over an objective text and map labels to ensure they're as clear as possible. Additionally, a small recording session was held in March to pick up a few lines of voiceover and ambient chatter that were needed to help bring the world to life. This was all alongside continuing to review levels with mind towards polishing and improving the storytelling and narrative pacing of gameplay moments. Tech design. March saw tech design provide interactable support across multiple entities and chapters. They also began an initiative to optimize and implement the implementation of AI usable corridor. For flight, the AI was reworked to make enemies more difficult and responsive, and combat test level was updated to help assess the changes. A small change was also made to ensure that a specific character flies slowly when they lead quantum travel. Various bugs were also fixed for flight, including issues with quantum travel target selection, AI not using gimbals. Oh, quantum travel target selection. Oh, how awful is that? AI not using gimbals, and the Drake Cutlass being invulnerable when shot from behind. Those all seem very familiar. General support, coordination, and bug fixing was also provided across the project. March saw the UI team on player-facing UIs used at specific locations to support key plot points. The team are currently optimizing the game's opening level to improve the player's first experience with better storytelling and increased frame rate. Finally, the devs worked on UI seen in cinematic sequences, designed brand visuals, and created scenes that the actors can react to at key points. And lastly, VFX. Last month, the VFX team continued their ongoing support of other teams. This included a focus on optimization, particularly for some of the more intensive scenarios in the game. That's less... The Squadron 42 reports are getting smaller and smaller in terms of content. But I do feel like a lot of what we're seeing here is further along in the polish phase than we have seen in the past. For those of you who are unfamiliar, typically playtesting is done, throughout a project's history as long as you can playtest it. But the level of playtesting that they're doing and getting feedback for is very granular, which doesn't feel like something you would do unless you have a lot of the basic features polished and ready to go. You're just trying to dial in the experience, which is closer to a beta level than it is an alpha level. Now, there are many chapters in Squadron 42, something like over 20. So them dialing in maybe a beta experience for chapter 1 doesn't mean the game is done. It just means that they're probably really polishing chapter 1 to shine. Possibly to, show off at some big event, maybe? Who knows? Maybe we could even playtest it. That's just me being speculative, nothing seen here, but most of what we saw was animation, AI work, and gameplay story work, which all is focused around telling the story and making the universe feel more emergent and believable. I really like the thing they pointed out with having a TV screen on that has news being played in the background. That's the kind of stuff that you don't have to interact with, but it's there and helps you build the world building a little bit more, which is good. I like it. But I want to hear your thoughts, as always, down in the comments below. Do you think this is good? Do you think we're heading towards a polished version of Squadron 42? Maybe even an announcement date towards the end of this year? Who knows? Let me know in the comments below, and if you think tell me if I'm crazy. And if you really enjoyed this content and you enjoy all my content, make sure you like the video, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when there's release and when I go live at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub and youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, but specifically the office hours is on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Love to see you come here, and like I always say, Hope to see you someday in the black.